Welcome back to part 2 of ex1 simple queries, and that's all we're going to do. We're going to run some simple query statements just to get the feel of working with a database. And I'm just going to run through some, and then I'm going to give you some others that you can do on your own. So what I'm going to do first is go into databases on your database tab. Remember, you can click over here, but I'll click here to go into my databases, and then I'll select world and make sure that I have world selected. And remember, there's 3 tables: city, country, and country language. And I just have some notes here I'm just going to look at, and I'm going to look at countries first. So I'm going to take a look at the countries table first. And when I click on the country table, you're going to see basically the records of all the countries. And there are 239 countries that are listed in this database. And the way they're listed, we don't really know, but we could kind of look and see that they're listed by alphabetical order right now. We're going to look at a couple other things with countries, and let me see what notes I... How many countries are from North America? All right, let's do that. But before I even do that, just note that it says select from country, order by name, ascending. Ascending means smallest to largest. And that means it's already showing you that it's in ascending order from smallest to largest in terms of name. And that means alphabetical order is what that means. Ascending alphabetical order means starting with the smallest, which is A, and going up. If it was a number, it would be starting with 1 and going up to higher numbers. If you wanted to start with Z, you would change that to descending order. But we don't type in here. This is not what we're typing. That's just showing. So if we changed anything, the world by population, we clicked on here and we wanted to look by population, and we wanted to actually, I'll click on population again because it's in ascending. These are the most populated countries. And I think we might have looked at that before. So these are the most populated countries. But note that what it says here is it select all. It uses an asterisk from country, which is the table. And it says order by country. That's putting in order by country population. It's actually putting country population. We're not going to have to do that. We could just say order by population. That has an extra dot in there where it's actually concatenating it. So we'll do things a little bit differently than it's always showing here. But more importantly, it says descending, so it's going from the largest so it's showing China, India, United States, things like that. So I'm going to run some queries. We could do our own. If we go to SQL, remember, just to review again, structure was basically a structure of our fields that are along the top, which we don't really have to do anything with right now if we're just looking at the database. But if we go into SQL, we could write some SQL statements, and that's a structured query language. And they're showing one right here to start. It's saying select, and then you're seeing an asterisk, and that means all. It's saying select all from country where 1. Now 1 doesn't mean anything right now, but it's basically just showing all from country. In fact, you could just do this. You could end it like that. That would do the same thing. If we did select all from country and we just hit the go button, it would show us just everything. And that's what we saw already. So that's not showing. Like I said, we're gonna type things or put in statements a little bit different than they show. Let's go back here. And when you go back here, it shows that where 1 again, and it's always going to go back to a default, and you can hit get auto saved. That'll be the last one you did, and that'll be important because once you do something, you're going to want to change the one you did. So I'm going to do the one I did, and I'm going to do select all from country. And also, let me go back for a second before I do that, because what I want to do is I want to actually select all from North America. How many countries are in North America? And here's North America is actually under the field continent. So we want to see how many countries are in North America. Because you always think of, well, Canada, United States, Mexico. I mean, that's what you think, but let's just see what it really says, what's official. So we're going to go to SQL, and we're going to write a query, and I'm just going to backspace here. And you could start, you could delete this and learn how to type it yourself. If you start typing select, you could just select the select statement, and then I'm going to put an asterisk, and I'm going to put from, and I'm actually just going to put an F, and I'll select from. And it does use all capital letters when it does that. You don't have to, but if you want to stick to the way the language looks, you could do that. I'm going to try to do that as much as possible. Select all from, and I'm going to start typing country, and there it is right there. I could just select. And notice they had some weird little character. We could just say select all from country, and we're going to put something, what's called a condition, and the condition is where. They use where. And I typed it like that, but I'm going to click on it so it's in all caps. Select from country where, and our condition is going to be where continent is going to be North America. I can choose continent over here. I could start typing it. I can start typing continent, and it'll come up. Or I could have double clicked it over here. It's showing me the columns or the fields over here. They're actually fields, but they call them columns. So we're going to select all from country where continent, and continent is just a field, and we have to say equals, and then we're going to put North America, and we're going to use a single quote. This is the way we should do it. You could do it with double quotes, but we should use a single quote, and we should end it with a semicolon. That's the appropriate way to do it. This would be an appropriate SQL statement. Select all from country where continent equals North America, and you might say, well, why is that a small c? Because the table is a small c. We have to do that. So, and we're using the purple statements or the SQL statements, the keywords, which are actually in all caps. So let's just hit go. And if there's a problem, it'll show up in red, and you'll get an error, and you'll have to fix it. But let's see if this works. And it'll basically go back and show us our browse window. And first thing you want to do is see how many. And it's saying 37. So there's 37 countries on the continent of North America, and that's something you're probably not aware of. I mean, if you look at some of these, some of these you might not have heard of. A lot of our islands and things like that, you wouldn't even have thought Greenland is part of North America. And there's also a region North America, because there's Central America, I guess where Mexico would be. And if you were curious of, well, how about the ones that are just continent and region of North America? Well, you could go back to your SQL and kind of limit your query a little bit more. Now you're like, oh, where'd my query go? Just go to get auto-saved query, and you can just add to this, and you can say use a kind of an operator and use an and. It's kind of like a join, so we're going to use and if you start typing it, it'll come up. All these little keywords will come up, so it kind of helps you. And we're going to say and it's going to be region, and we could double click over there, and you can see when you double click over there, it puts these little weird, I don't know what they are, but it puts them on. That's the same as if you just did it like this. So that's not a problem. If you didn't like that, you could start typing region and just use the region from there. When it does that, it doesn't put the quotes on there. So that's just something you'll have to deal with a little bit when you're in PHP-MyAdmin. And region equals, we have to put equals something. You can't just say region. Region equals North America. So single quotes again. In North America, the data won't come up in the little drop down. It's only the columns and fields and rows and things like that. The data itself won't show up there, and it won't give you hints of things like that. So we're going to say, and region equals North America, and we'll end it with a semicolon, and we'll hit go. And again, if we get an error, you get a little pink message or something, and it's saying there's 5. So there's only 5 regions of North America. Bermuda, Canada, Greenland, St. Pierre, and Miquelon, which I've never heard of, and the United States. That's who would have known. So anyway, that's some of the things we could find out. I think what I'll do right now is break the video here, and then we'll pick up with part 3, working with the cities.